Thank you. My name is Tyson Slocum. I direct the energy program for Public Citizen. Public Citizen is a national, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. We are one of America's largest consumer advocacy groups, and we have a nearly 40-year track record of supporting strong, progressive, sustainable energy policies that protect the environment while also protecting household consumers. And Public Citizen is thrilled that the EPA is beginning this process and has already begun this process of getting the tailoring rule to consider regulating greenhouse gas emissions under the Clean Air Act. It's fitting that these hearings are occurring today. We're almost approaching the 40-year anniversary of the Clean Air Act, which is really one of the most important critical laws that the United States and our citizens have to protect our communities. And we strongly support the EPA using its authority under the Clean Air Act to tackle one of its biggest challenges yet, and that is global climate change. Public Citizen strongly supports the development of science-based regulations to sharply reduce greenhouse gas emissions from power plants, oil refineries, and other smokestack emitters that are responsible for nearly 70% of our nation's emissions of pollutants that cause climate change. The EPA has really emerged as the only arm of the federal government with the credibility to solve climate change, as Congress thus far has produced what we feel at Public Citizen to be deeply flawed legislation that provides billions of dollars in financial giveaways to polluters while failing to change our corporate-controlled energy system that has contributed to the unsustainable energy path that America finds itself on. Using the Clean Air Act, as the EPA has done over 40 years, has shown that it can work with industry to make it more efficient, that there are glaring inefficiencies in the way that we produce energy, that we produce goods in this country, and that industry needs the guidance of science-based, thoughtful regulations that the EPA can produce that will hold polluters accountable while still implementing the strong, aggressive targets and greenhouse gas emissions reductions that the US and the world desperately needs to head off what many scientists believe to be catastrophic climate change catastrophes. We understand that there is a very big push by a lot of folks in industry to avoid having to comply with EPA regulations. We see in the legislation passed by the House of Representatives that it would eviscerate the ability of the EPA to conduct rulemakings to regulate greenhouse gas emissions under the Clean Air Act. Public Citizen will oppose any legislation that takes away the ability of the EPA to do its job to protect citizens and the world from the effects of climate change. We feel that under the leadership of the EPA, that your agency is far more shielded from the effects of lobbyists and special interests that have proven to be so effective at getting what they want out of legislation, and we think out of regulation, where science rather than lobbyists will prevail. It's also appropriate that you are holding these hearings on the eve of the global climate change talks in Copenhagen next month. The United States, along with most of the nations of the world, are going to be working together on how to solve climate change. And I think that the eyes of the world will not be on congressional leaders, but on the Environmental Protection Agency and the pronouncements that the Obama administration makes and EPA officials make on the progress that the EPA is planning on regulating greenhouse gas emissions under the Clean Air Act. So thank you very much for the opportunity to make my remarks today, and Public Citizen looks forward to supporting the EPA authority under the Clean Air Act with all of our resources that we have available.